everybody, to another episode of Realtor Hacks, Tips, and Tricks. I wish you were on here right before. We were having great dialogue. But just starting out, my name is Hallie Beeler-McCrory, agent in both West Texas and North Texas, specifically San Angelo and Dallas, Texas. And one of your co-hosts for Realtor Hacks, Tips, and Tricks. I'm also a host for American Dream TV, Emmy-nominated TV show all about real estate and lifestyle here in Dallas, where I'm at right now recording. And I've got my lovely co-host on here, Casey Stiers, also a host for American Dream, but in Raleigh, North Carolina. She is the downtown guru, but I would also say you're a pretty Wilmington guru as well, which is the beaches of North Carolina. And we're super excited. We've already been totally jive with her. Oh gosh, there's a bug. Sorry. Texas.
Your bug.
Athena Brownson, I'm so excited to have her on. She's just got a really cool background. You're based out of Denver, correct?
That is correct. Yes. Pretty much covered Denver metro and a lot of the mountain regions as well.
Yes. Well, and it's super cool because Athena was actually a professional freestyle skier before, and we're going to talk a little bit about, how this helped her to become a really successful agent. So yeah, welcome, Athena. And
thank you.
To have you.
No, thank you so much for having me. It's such an honor. I love your podcast, and I just already love you ladies. Have had so much fun chatting all of the life hacks, and excited to see what we can share today and help everyone.
We both have two French bulldogs, which.
That's like an automatic bond. I think that, Frenchie owners, we just
the monkey poo owner's not so bad. Come on, now.
Rocky, yes. Rocky's a staple. We love Rocky.
Rocky's secretly human.
Well, and now you and Rocky taught us that there's potential, we don't know, I guess talk to your CPA, but we were talking about how Casey actually wrote Rocky off in her taxes as a guard dog.
Didn't run him off in life.
What better Ring doorbell system than having a dog that will alert you when someone's approaching, whether it might be the mailman. Regardless, the IRS doesn't know that. Again, consult your CPA people, but your dog might be a guard dog.
I'm trying to convince
if you have a home office.
So you have to have a home office, you said?
Yes.
Okay.
I think, post-COVID days, though, I don't know many that don't. I think the home office has kind of become a staple.
Yes.
So
I know, definitely a trend we've been seeing.
Yes.
So tell us a little bit about how you got into real estate, Athena, and I want to hear a little bit about the skiing part too.
Yes. So they all go hand in hand. I'll try not to go on too long, but I was born and raised in a little ski town called Breckenridge. If you know skiing and snowboarding, you've probably heard of it. My dad was a professional skier. He was an Olympic speed skier. So he also has that psychosis, and a real estate developer. So he did a lot of residential luxury construction, building and developing in the mountains. And as such, you never grow up wanting to be what your parents do. So I never in a million years thought I'd end up in real estate. And here I am, and it's the best thing that ever happened to me. But with that, growing up in Breckenridge, I was on skis from the time I was able to walk. I think my dad had me in a little baby Bjorn on his chest from 3 weeks old on. You'd probably get arrested for doing that these days, I think. But back then, back 1990, it was kosher. So, I learned how to ski when I was 2. I grew up with very, very, very strict coaches. I started in racing, and I honestly attribute all my business success to the coaching I got as a skier and as an athlete, because they were setting me up for learning accountability, discipline, consequences, and just really being able to be in charge of your own success by what you put into it. So by the time I was 15 years old, I went pro, and that basically means you get sponsorships for different products that you wear, and you get paid for them, and you get paid to travel. And I did about a little over 10 years on a professional circuit, doing about 300 days a year on snow. Wow. And after like 9 ACL surgeries, a couple broken necks, I decided to retire. And I initially went into the world of interior design. I'm super creative. I love to be creative, super hands-on, but I just wasn't getting that fulfillment of having a limit to how far I could go with it. And coming from being an athlete where you're responsible for your own success, depending on how hard you're going to work, I really needed to find a career that aligned with that. And I was not in that place. So a good girlfriend of mine, this is about 10 years ago, which is crazy. I don't know where time flies. She said, Athena, like, why are you not in real estate? You love people. You're from Colorado. You have a great sphere. Your dad's a builder. You do interior design. Like, what are you thinking? And that's kind of when it clicked. So I agreed to have lunch with the owner of her company. I think it was a couple days after that conversation. And I literally quit my job the next day, had knee surgery, my 9th knee surgery, and studied for real estate that whole recovery, got my license, and then I blinked and it's been 10 years.
Yeah, literally, I know.
Yeah.
So quick.
Yeah, but I wouldn't trade it for the world. And honestly, being able to take everything that, my family really created in the mountains and bring it to Denver. I recently started developing properties with my dad down here as my partner. So as funny as it is growing up, you never think you want to be what your parents are. And now I wouldn't want to be anywhere else, honestly. And I'm super grateful to be able to, kind of keep the family business going.
That's me too. Like I never would have considered real estate because my mom, she was a real estate agent and then was also a mortgage broker and then worked for a builder. And my whole upbringing was being in model homes and going to showings. I'm like, I freaking hate real estate. Like I hated it.
I was on freezing job sites like my whole childhood, walking like really cold construction projects. I was like, I never want to do this.
Yes, I know. And then of course my husband's a builder and developer too. And he's the one that got me into it. My mom was like, you said you never wanted to do what? I'm like, yeah, I don't know. Here we are.
I always tell everyone, life is not an adventure unless there's a couple of U-turns. And a lot of times those U-turns don't necessarily look like they're going to get you to the place you want to be, but it always ends up taking you to where you want to be. And I think that is what we can all attest to.
And Colorado is known, just like North Carolina, they're the 2 hardest states to pass the real estate exam.
Is that true? Yeah.
North Carolina and Colorado, they're
interesting. Yeah, no, I've had coworkers that are absolutely brilliant and they've taken it like 7 times.
In North Carolina, but that doesn't mean.
Yeah.
I also hold a biology minor, so it's like
I don't think you learn anything in real estate school that's actually applicable to how to run a real estate business. And that, I attribute all of my success to mentorship and I got really lucky. I found an incredible mentor right off the bat. And honestly, I don't know how one can really, really take off without being able to find an agent that you can follow every move they're making, study everything they're doing. Like I would go on showings with him, go to do open houses with him, watch him make market analysis, like everything that I actually tangibly needed to know to run a business. I learned from mentorship. So, it passed the test. It's tricky, but it'll be worth it. And then find a mentor.
Yeah. And we just came back from that conference and that was like, literally they sent a recap out after. Tip number 1 that they, pulled from the conference was find a mentor.
Really?
Oh, I love hearing that because that's always what I tell,
That was the common denominator they all had. Find somebody and copy paste. And that's what I always say. Ask, what does your day look like? How do you Like,
Absolutely. And I think that's something that gets so lost in, real estate can be very solo and it can feel very isolating, especially for a new agent. And a lot of times I think you just get assigned a mentor, and that mentor doesn't necessarily want to be engaged in like helping you grow and figure out, a lot of this will go into marketing, but really figuring out what your strengths are in the field. Like you don't know what you don't know. So until you're following someone and understanding like how multifaceted real estate can be, you don't know what you're good at, what your strengths are, what your weaknesses are, and how to capitalize on them. Because I think real estate is really all about implementing the basics with consistency. And when we're able to do that and like knowing what your basics are, and honestly, that's a lot of what I would love to talk about today is understanding what your basics are and what because they should all be built on your strengths. I think real estate so often gets this like one size fits all model of, making 100 phone calls a day. And, we all hear it over and over and over again. But if those are not activities that you feel good about doing or that you enjoy doing, the likelihood of you actually implementing them into your day-to-day routine is so low. Yeah. So finding what activities you do enjoy doing and then learning how to capitalize on that. So let's get into it, ladies.
Yes. Tell us more.
Yes. So when I first started as a baby agent, I've always been a huge proponent of having a coach. And I think a lot of that goes back to the fact that I was an athlete and being able to have someone that can really look over your business, look over your entire, I think oftentimes we get so narrow-sighted on just looking at our business, but it really needs to be a whole life approach, like looking at every pillar of your life and understanding where you need to improve and where your blind spots are that you're not seeing yourself. I think you need to have someone in your life that can do that, whether that's a coach or a mentor. But what I learned very early on was the importance of consistency with the basics. But what I didn't learn early on was that those basics are not going to be the same for everyone. So, for example, in my first office, the lovely gentleman in the office next to me, who's still a dear friend, shout out Sean Nealon. He's got a great podcast too. But I would listen to him cold call all day long. He would cold call and he would be so happy doing it, and it made me want to cry thinking about that. And I felt like I needed to be doing that. I was like, I'm failing as a realtor because I'm not making 100 cold calls a week, and I'm not out introducing myself to every business in the neighborhood and making and I really felt defeated at first. Yeah. And what I learned, relatively quickly, which I'm super grateful for, and it was through coaching, was one of my coaches looked at me and was like, Athena, what are the things that you enjoy doing? Like, where are you comfortable? Do you love hosting happy hours? Do you love hosting events? Do you love one-on-one, like breaking bread with your sphere? Have you even created your sphere, your database, like basics 101? But finding what your strengths are and what your weaknesses are, and then building your, green time activities, your money-making activities based on your strengths. Yeah. And I think that's where so many young agents and agents overall kind of get caught up, is trying to fit into a program that does not really work with what they're good at. And when you're not doing what you're good at and what you enjoy doing, you're not going to be consistent with it. Your enthusiasm's not going to come through in what you're doing, and it's not going to be a fun job. So for me, it was all about finding where I felt, I always do the heavy and light test when I'm thinking about it, what activities I want to be putting in my basics for I have what's called a greatness tracker where I go through and mark off as I go the activities that I've done for the day that are my basics. So where am I thriving? What do I love doing? And how can I really capitalize on that? And it comes down to figuring out, do you love being in front of the camera? Do you love doing a really customized newsletter? Do you love doing open houses? Are you connecting with small businesses? Like, there's so many different ways of arranging it, but really just implementing the basics really well. And marketing in today's day and age is such a big part of that. And what I have learned is that it takes a village. I was an I was an only child, and I grew up skiing. That's a one-man sport. So delegation was never my strong suit. I always wanted to get everything done myself. And what I think you learn very quickly as an agent is that there is no way of doing everything by yourself at a certain point, at least. You need to build out a team that is there to support you. And it goes back to understanding what are your strengths and what are your weaknesses and how you can delegate out the weaknesses. So I'm super grateful that I've found an amazing team to help me implement what marketing I think works really well for my business. But I think everyone has to really look at where they thrive and understanding where they can be consistent in order to build your marketing plan for the year and in order to know what activities you need to be doing on a day-to-day basis. And if you want me to get into those, I can do that now, but let me know if you have any questions.
I want to hear what you do and like your day-to-day and what your marketing plan looks like. Hallie, I'm not saying that's
that's what I was going to ask too. So that's perfect.
Love it. So I'll start by saying that I have, for the last 2 years, I have the most amazing executive assistant. I call her my boss because really, I think that a lot of times realtors we're like chickens with our heads cut off, running around trying to get it all done. But
literally,
and she really helps me keep it in line. But we've really figured out a consistent program for marketing that has completely changed my business, honestly. And it has been through hiring the right people and the right team and understanding where my time is best spent and what can be hired out. So I'll start by saying, website and reviews are absolutely critical. When you're getting ready to hire a professional of any kind, whether you're looking for a new doctor or you're looking for a great place to take your car, what is the first thing you're going to do? You're going to go online, you're going to check their reviews, testimonials, and probably go to their website. So this is just today's day and age. Like, you need to have an online presence. So making sure that you're extremely consistent with getting reviews from your past clients, whether that's on video. I think that's a really great social media tool. You can, have your videographer or just have them shoot a selfie video that's a live testimonial and also have it on your Google business page. But getting that content out there of people that like you, love you, trust you, want to refer you, and making sure that it's known that you are an expert in your field, in your market. I think that's number one. Number two, as much as I think, maybe some agents have been slow to adopt social media and thinking that it's not necessarily a tool that can build, be money making or bring in leads. I honestly was probably that person like 3 years ago, but I have learned that video and social media have become one of the best ways that I have been able to make incredible connections, not just with, potential clients, but with, agents around the country, with different vendors. Like I really have it's incredible what social media has done for my business.
Yeah.
But the reason that it does well is really twofold. One, consistency. So I work with a team that I need to make sure that I have enough content produced, that I have a video a day that they're editing, they're making sure, is I tend to chat a lot. I'm sure you, in case you didn't realize. So they make
a realtor after all.
So you said you have a team. So you have a team that just for your social media. Are they virtual or are they here?
They are virtual. So the company is actually out of Ontario, but my editor is in India, and we are all on a WhatsApp group chat, and we're constantly discussing. I don't know what I don't know. I am not a video marketing guru by any means. So he's telling me, okay, this is how we can optimize your videos. These are the videos that are getting the most interaction and views. And if we can, pivot and make sure that you're focusing on that type of content, and maybe you should be thinking about these type of strategies. These are things that he is an expert at. I am not an expert at. So finding who those experts are, and if you can't, starting off, realtors, that's not in the budget for life. Like, you're just trying to get your business going. Right. Guys, look at who your favorite agents are on social media and emulate what they're doing. You don't need to have a marketing team that's running everything or a video editor. You can be editing those by yourself if you'd like to. You can also go on Fiverr and find an amazing video editor for a really great price. But the key there is consistency. So this team does edit and post my videos every day. And honestly, I can say that it would not get done if it wasn't that way for me. I know myself. I get, realtors wear 100 hats. That is not a hat that is going to get done consistently. And I think the reason that I have success with it is because of the consistency. Right. So whatever means of, connecting with people through social media or elsewhere, making sure that you're doing that consistently. Another part that goes with that is my monthly newsletter. I'm making sure that every month on the dot, the first or second day of the month, we're putting out content in the form to my entire sphere, my whole database, on really usable, like, what events are happening in your area that month? What are different opportunities for you to get involved in volunteering? What's the market doing? I love to, throw in a video giving a market update in there, so people are getting that face recognition on a newsletter if they're not on social media. And making sure that's going out really consistently. And with all of this, I think it's really key to have a uniform aesthetic. I mean, as basic as that may seem, it is so easily overlooked, and it's easy not to think about. But I work for Compass, and I'm super grateful that they've provided really great templates that are all black and white. Like, we're very uniform in what we're providing, whether it's our listing presentation, social media posts, newsletter, whatever it may be, finding that consistent branding so that when people see anything from you, they're associating that branding with you, and they're thinking of you at that caliber that you want to be at.
Yes.
Really,
I heard like the best term, or like the best description of branding. It was Ricky Carruth just said at the conference last week. He said, a brand is a name that reminds you of a story that you want to be in.
Yes.
Oh
my gosh, that's good. You're gonna have to like text me that or something. I mean, I guess I could listen to the podcast again. So no, that's brilliant.
Yes, I thought it was good.
I think as realtors, it's so easy to forget, or I hope it's not, because I fully believe in like a relationship based business.
Yeah.
But you really are more than anything selling a lifestyle. So whether that's, you know, through video content of providing valuable insight on what's going on in different neighborhoods and maybe connecting with business owners in that way, but like, what story are you telling and what lifestyle are you, you know, and I think it needs to be a variety of lifestyles. And one of the first things I do with clients, honestly, if they have time, is I love giving a lifestyle tour of different neighborhoods in the city and saying, you know, the first day out, let me, after doing some client intake and really understanding what their needs are, let me take you to one property in each of these 6 neighborhoods so that you can get an idea for what your lifestyle is going to look like within, like, within whatever neighborhood. So it all comes 360, like marketing, branding, lifestyle, client lifestyle, like it all comes together, and having that cohesive message, that cohesive look, and the consistency in whatever ways you're marketing yourself, it creates a full picture. And that is exactly what people want. They want to feel that you know, not only have the credibility by looking back at your testimonials and looking at your past sales and your website, probably stalking you on social media, because that's what we do too. I mean, that's just the world we live in. But like, how are you showing up to a viewer who doesn't know anything about you, and what story is your brand telling? And for me, that's something that, you know, I implement with my team. Every quarter we do what's called a quarterly offsite. So it's basically just an excuse for us to get our team together somewhere that's not inside the office and look at, okay, we've created a marketing plan, you know, probably at the end of December, January for the year. And we've created goals. Now, where are we? Have we hit, you know, how well are we hitting those metrics? How well are we hitting our goals? Am I getting, you know, all my newsletters out? Am I farming my neighborhood consistently? Am I getting my social media videos done every day? Like, what activities have I put myself accountable to, or said I was going to be accountable to? And am I actually following through with that? Am I happy with what I'm creating, or do I need to make adjustments? And like, where are the holes in my business, and how can we fill those gaps? Do we need, you know, whether that's hiring something out, whether that's getting something out of your business, constantly checking in with what's working and what's not working in your marketing and in your business plan, I think needs to be done, you know, at least quarterly. For us, quarterly works, but for others, it's monthly. And then having a tracking system to make sure that you're accountable for doing what you say you're going to do. You know, if I've got a marketing calendar set up for the year that says I'm going to be hosting X number of events and I'm going to be putting out this much content, and my goals with that are X, what is actually keeping me accountable to doing those things? When I was in a coaching program, I'm in between coaches right now, because one of my favorite coach ever is starting his own coaching program. So once that gets going, I'm going to follow his lead.
Yes.
But, you know, I would have to turn in what I was telling you is called a greatness tracker every other week. So it outlines what activities I'm promising that I'm going to be doing each week from a marketing standpoint, from a connecting with clients. Like, am I doing face-to-face meetings? Am I doing, you know, events, am I eating meals with people? Like, how am I building relationship with people in ways that are authentic to me? And if I'm not checking off a box, I would get fined by the box, $10 per missing activity, and it would go to charity. So like, it was for, you know, it would go to a good cause.
Yeah.
it kept me super accountable because I knew that if I wasn't doing what I said I was going to do, that there was going to be a consequence for it. And if I did do what I said I was going to do at the end of the semester, I had created a reward for myself with my coach. And, you know, whether that's like taking a weekend off and like going enjoying a weekend with your significant other or friends or family, or you really want a pair of running shoes or whatever it is, like find a way to reward yourself for good behavior, aka getting your activities done.
Literally, it reminds me of like anytime or like my Pilates studio that I go to, it's like if you miss, they hit you with a no-show fee or late cancellation. I'm like,
it's expensive too.
I'm like, I can't justify it. I have to go. Like, but then of course the reward is like,
yeah,
look good. I feel good. I got up and did it.
It was kind of like in New York. I was like, oh, I'd really like to sleep right now, but I paid $70, so I'm going to
yeah, we went to
go do this, and it was so worth it. Like,
right? And those are the things too that are like, I put on my greatness tracker personal items as well, because I know that if I'm not showing up for my, like, I have severe health issues. I spend probably a quarter of the year in the hospital getting plasma transfusions.
Wow.
And I know that if I'm not taking care of myself and keeping myself accountable for that, that I'm not going to be able to show up every day. And I'm not going to be able to be the best I can be at work, with my friends, with my family. So I have, you know, workouts on my greatness tracker. I have nutrition on my greatness tracker. I have how much water I'm drinking. Like, these are things that might seem trivial, but if you're not looking at your life from, you know, like your entire life, you're not going to show up the best you can in any area of your life. So I think when we get really clear on when we feel the best, how we feel the best, what activities feel the most natural to us. Like for me, like I said, video for me, I love getting behind my phone and just filming a quick video. I'm super comfortable with it. I'm on American Dream for years. Absolutely love American Dream. I think it's great. I had to back away when I got really sick, unfortunately, a couple of years ago, but I think it's amazing. Like, finding where you shine. And I love being behind a camera. So that also means that when I'm doing client updates, I don't love talking on the phone as much. And unfortunately, that's a part of real estate, but I love sending video updates to my clients. Hey, I just got off the phone with the buyer's agent. The inspection went well, but these are a couple items that we should expect down the pipeline, but that are going to be coming.
Start doing that more.
I know, I like that too.
I hate texting. Like, by the end of the day, I have text so much. I'm like, this could be a 2-minute conversation. If you're my friend, we're having a 2-minute conversation.
Same. And honestly, so I have a very, very rare, like a nerve disease, basically, where my body attacks my nerves. Wow. And because of that, this sounds so sci-fi, but if anyone has ever seen Better Call Saul, they'll probably get it. So I have a very severe electromagnetic frequency sensitivity, EMF sensitivity.
Wow.
So that means that when I'm having like flare days, or like I lived in an RV for 6 months at one point in my life, like a couple of years ago, that wasn't connected to electricity. And I would write $1 million contracts with lead gloves and a lead blanket over me because I would be covered in electrical burns if I did it.
Wow.
So like technology and real estate are one. And I have this very difficult relationship with technology. And I've really had to learn what works and what I can do, because at the end of the day, still, like, I mean, I probably have like 10 electrical burns on my hands right now because texting, like, just from text messaging, or right before I need a plasma transfusion, if my nerves are really sensitive, like my computer will hurt me. So I've literally had to adjust my business and how I connect with people in the most efficient and effective ways to do that, based on the U-turn that my life took. And that's been quite the adventure, but it also has had me really get creative in how I'm connecting with people, and made face-to-face time that much more important. And that's really what I love anyway. So it's put so much more emphasis on making sure that a part of my marketing plan is, how am I connecting with my sphere on a regular basis? And I say that that's in my marketing plan because there's no better marketing than face-to-face. Like, you are your brand. You should be your brand. Your story should be your brand. So if I'm making sure that I'm scheduling 2 to 3 lunches with past clients or whales or my sphere every week, if I make sure that I'm hosting, whether it's like a women's event, we did like a Galentine's wine tasting recently. I want to make sure that my marketing plan includes what I'm best at. And honestly, that is clearly talking to people and really building that relationship. And my business, I look at it, it's about 97% from my sphere. It's past clients, it's past client, it's connecting me with their friends, and then obviously I get some leads through my videos, which is amazing. But I've really had to cater my business plan, my marketing plan, to the fact that I have these very rare, weird illnesses that sound more like a science fiction novel than real life, but it's real life. And I think that's what the key for everyone is figuring out, like, what works in your life. Like, if you love working out, why don't you host once a month a workout for your clients? Like, what better marketing than to pay for a workout class for your clients and have everyone come in, maybe do like a little handout that gets you 20% off a mimosa after at the bar next, or the restaurant next door to the class. But like, what better marketing than taking your clients to do something that you love, so that they're feeling that passion and they're getting to know you on a more personal level. I think marketing, I feel like that should be the goal, is how can I get people to understand who I am in the most authentic way possible. Like, I don't hide anything on social media. I take people on my plasma transfusions. Go to the hospital. Like, this is, I want people to really know every facet of me as a human being, so that we know that if we align and we're going to work well together. Because at the end of the day, you want to work with people that you know, like, and trust, as every coach would ever tell us.
Well, and I like how it comes full circle, because like you said, the best way to connect with people is face to face, but I feel like the second best way would be through social media, because it's, or video too. Like, you're connecting. It feels like you connect with somebody, but you're connecting with people on scale. Which is even cooler and more efficient than just like one-on-one. But of course,
I love using. Oh, sorry.
No, you're good. I just, it comes full circle for sure.
It does. And I love, I think that video can be used in so many ways to benefit our businesses and to benefit our clients. Like, if we're putting out, in addition to a monthly newsletter, maybe you do, the 2 weeks after your newsletter, you put out a video email that is giving you a tip or a trick on how to work on the curb appeal of your home, or what a recent market update is. Or if you're looking to sell, here are 3 tips to make sure you're getting, like, how can you use video, or whatever means works best for you. But I think video is a pretty easy way to connect with a large amount of people, but like, how can you bring value to people with your marketing? I think that's a lot of times what gets thrown out the window, and it just becomes like, you know, this is a pretty house, this is a pretty house, this is a pretty house. Like, what are we actually doing with our content that we're putting out there that is going to bring value to people, and that people are going to remember, like, oh yeah, I remember seeing that real estate agent on YouTube or Instagram, and they had really great tips on, you know, top 5 things buyers are looking for in a property. I want to go back and look at her page and connect with her. Like, what are you giving, not what are you getting?
Right. So let me ask you this. How are you tying? So it sounds like your 2 big lead generators are social media and video, and then also email. Are you funneling people from social media into, like, sounds like yes. Like, can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Yes, definitely. So, and you know, a couple things that I haven't talked about either are, like, I do some targeted farming in the neighborhood that I live in, and try and connect with as many people as I can. And my assistant creates an amazing mailer that talks about what our, you know, market activity is, like average days on market, average sales price, and then what events are going on in the community. So I do still believe that, like, having tangible marketing assets is necessary, but I would highly recommend differentiating yourself from the majority of agents that send a postcard. We do like a trifold to a smaller number of households, but I mean, I always say, like, you have to do something consistently for at least a year before seeing the results. But we're 8 months into marketing my new to farming my new neighborhood. And because she's created such an incredible asset that people want to hold on to, that has that valuable info in it, like, I've gotten multiple listing appointments from that. So I'm not saying that, you know, like, the old school techniques don't work, because I think you also have to do that. But I have, you know, a very systematized way of anyone that I'm meeting, whether it's through social media or an open house, anyone that I don't know personally, is first of all going into my CRM. But one of the first things I do after, you know, making a couple interactions with them, and that really comes down to whatever your touch points are. For me, it's phone calls, handwritten notes, videos. Like, I think that's another way you can use videos. Hey, I just met you at this open house this weekend. It was so great. I'd love to schedule a time to meet in person and get to know you. But we send out what's called an all about you form, and via email, and just, it's like an interactive Google intake form that gets me as much information as possible about what that person's lifestyle looks like, so that then I can send them a little gift that has to do with what they put on our all about you form, so that it's personalized. So really making sure that we're getting every interaction I make, making sure that I'm getting it in my CRM, labeled properly, so that we know what steps need to be taken to make that person not just a one-time interaction, but someone that could be a potential client. And I think follow up and having your own follow-up plan and being consistent with it is critical. I'm not saying I'm perfect. I think it's so easy. You know, when we get busy as realtors, the basics kind of all go out the window, and then that's when you notice those big ebbs and flows in your business. So making sure that you're really diligent about keeping up with the basics like that. But again, like, the majority of my time and my focus is on nurturing the sphere that I already have. So while I am, you know, always trying to grow that sphere, more so I'm trying to grow my sphere by having lunch with past clients, and then saying, hey, if you know anyone that's looking to buy or sell this year, or just needs insight on the real estate market, you know me, I'm very, no pressure. Like, I'd love to connect with them and just see how I can be a valuable resource. So that's my preferred method of getting new business, and it works because if you've done a great job for your clients, why wouldn't they want to refer you? It's the hardest, for me at least, it's the hardest thing to do is ask for that referral, but there's such organic, like authentic ways that you can do it. And if you've done an amazing job for someone, then why wouldn't they want to refer you out to the world?
Right.
Like they want to.
That's like basically what influencing is, and everybody wants to do that. So,
hey, we could be influencers, guys. What are we doing? It's true.
Well, Athena is for sure.
Yes, my whole real estate career is basically built on referrals and being a part of community and doing an amazing job. So
that's exactly the kind of business that I believe in, that I strive for, that I cherish. And I think it's what creates that long-term just satisfaction too. It's like, you know, I'm 10 years in and I still love my job just as much. I mean, much more than when I started. Because when I started, I was like, what do I do? Everything's, you know, going a million miles an hour and I have no idea what's going on. But no, I love what I do so much because of the people that I work with. You know, when you're creating a business based on relationships and referrals and that triangle of trust, as my coach would say, you're going to be very happy with life and business and what you're doing and what you're providing and being a part of the most integral, huge chapter of someone's life. Like, I think a lot of times we forget, like people forget, buying or selling a home is one of the biggest investments, chapters anyone will ever do. And we need to make sure that we're guiding them with the utmost care and providing the best possible resources and advice and that we can, because at the end of the day, it's, you know, it's our job to make sure that
guiding them, letting them understand the process and being sensitive to their fears and needs. So.
And how often do you ladies hear like that's not the case? You know, I'm horrified when I get off a buyer consult and I hear about previous experiences that they've had. And it makes me really sad that it can be very transactional and they never hear from their broker again. And they never really felt like they had someone in their corner. Yeah. And that's the thing. Like, how can you make sure that you're their trusted advisor for all things real estate, whether that means they closed 2 years ago and need a great contractor recommendation, or like you are their go-to for anything real estate because you've built that trusted relationship. Like, I mean, I'm like so corny. I will be that person yelling from a mountain about how much I love my job, but it's because of those relationships that we're able to build.
Yes. That reminded me, Casey, I keep bringing things back to the conference, but you're hitting every thing they said. That's exactly what Josh Altman, like.
I love him.
He's like, I'm everybody's concierge. You need a contractor. I got it. Like, and he's like opening his jacket. He's like, what else was it?
I love that.
You need an HVAC person. I got it.
It's a roll of tape. I got it.
It's so true. Like, that's so true. And I love $1 million listing. I think it's like my guilty pleasure. A lot of times I'll be working at home and might have that on in the background. And I'm like, hey, it's basically like market, you know, I'm learning.
It's mentoring.
Yeah, exactly. But you really do want to make sure that whatever marketing and touch points you're implementing into your weekly routine, monthly routine, yearly plan, that you're reminding people of everything, all of the value that you have to offer. Because a lot of times people will forget that they have, I need a referral for a great roofer. Like, a lot of times people will forget, but they're not going to forget if they're getting your monthly newsletter and your market updates and, you know, a handwritten note on their home anniversary, on their birthday. Like, there are so many ways to stay connected with people and to make sure that you're top of mind for anything that the home offers. And there's video can really do an amazing job with that.
The anniversary thing, a little hack I'm going to throw in there. Sorry, I'm going to interrupt you. Is every time I do a closing, as I'm doing the thank you note, I have these already printed, and congratulations, it's been a year in your home, and I go ahead and address it, and then I have folders January, February, March, April. So at the beginning of each month, I just grab them. They're already stamped.
So smart.
And I just put them in the mailbox, and it's done.
Mind blown.
Oh,
I love that case.
I do a handwritten note, and you can print them on Canva. You can write them up on Canva. I did mine on Canva.
That's brilliant.
You should like make that a little, like, you should make it a little, and put it on like Etsy to sell.
Or I buy things like that off Etsy all the time, like templates. And
yes, me too.
I can put it on Etsy, Amazon, and my Stanley store.
You should, honestly, because that is something that is, again,
and do
it's taking
I'll buy it from you.
the thinking of, I would too. I think that is absolutely
great. I sold two. Okay, well, I will put it together.
You've already got 2 clients. We're in.
It's things like that's the teacher in me. It makes your life easy.
Yep.
And that's what it's all about, is figuring out how we can make things more streamlined. And my ADHD brain does not think in that way. It's all over the place. But I know that my amazing boss, I'll say, is systematized, and like that is something that she could easily implement, and it's going to be a game changer. That's a basic that is a game changer when it comes to marketing. And it is a reflection of how much you do care, because you clearly care if you're making sure to get this in place so that it is something you don't forget, because you care so much.
So much junk mail. If you get a handwritten card, it's actually exciting and relieving. Yeah. I mean, to me, it's like this much junk, one piece of mail. That's usually a bill. So from the IRS.
And honestly, that's one of the biggest things that I do. And I guess that would be considered marketing, but I expect myself to do a minimum of 2, but my goal is 4 handwritten notes a day, because the best feedback that I get from clients is around my handwritten notes. And it's because it's me authentically making sure that they know that I'm thinking of them, checking in, seeing if they need anything.
Follow back, follow through.
And what better way than a personal, taking the time to write a handwritten note is something that has kind of faded away. If I could send a carrier pigeon, I would, because that would be even cooler, but handwritten notes will work for now. But that's something that's so personal, and it really exemplifies who you are as a person and how much value and how much you care about your clients. I love that.
Yeah. It takes 2 seconds. You're already doing a thank you handwritten. If you're not, you should be with your pillows and gifts.
Right. Yeah.
I'm sorry. That's the one time you have to write something sweet and
if you're not, you should just run away.
Even if you're not attaching it to a gift, you can order cards for dirt cheap. Count your pennies. And then it's 2 and 2. Like, this is already printed and everything. All you're doing is putting it in an envelope. You could even go as far as go ahead and putting 100 of them in an envelope. And go ahead and stamping 100, and then just grabbing it and writing the address on it.
Yeah,
I do something that's called a letter of the heart once a quarter, and it's to like my closest 200 people, I would say. And it's a letter of the heart because it is something that I am really getting into, not just, what the last quarter in real estate has looked like, but what has been going on in my life that quarter. Like, how can I use this as an opportunity to make sure I'm connecting on like a real human level with people? Yeah. And people love hearing your story and they want to know what's going on in your life. And it's a really amazing way to stay connected. And again, we'll print, I'll write it up. It's about 2-page front and back. We'll mail them out, handwritten addresses, so it doesn't get looked like at junk mail and thrown away.
Yeah.
But another way, just personal touch of making sure that people feel like you're they're on your mind and that you want to share your life with them. And then at the end say, I'd love to catch up over a cup of coffee and learn what's going on in your life. So letter of the heart is another thing that I highly recommend if you're comfortable sharing kind of what's going on in your life. And that's how I've really shared my health journey with my clients. And it's been the biggest godsend because it's created this huge support system that I never even would have thought of, honestly. But my clients have also become a support system that lift me up and like really encourage me to get out of bed when I feel like I'm dying.
Well, how often, I feel like we can all say this, how often have clients become close friends? It's, that doesn't shock me, I guess. And your health journey is very interesting too, but it's not that hearing about other people's that are common health journeys, but it's such an interesting.
It's bizarre.
Yeah. Just how so much of the non-toxic world and, getting off your phone how that has become more popular.
Huge. Yeah. Understanding the implications.
I like that you've chosen to take something negative like that and make it positive.
And it just creates awareness too. It's making sure that people are thinking about in their home, making sure there's no black mold and making sure we're doing the right inspections and making sure you're not right under a giant power line that can be zapping you and radiation. It really does come into how you're approaching just inspecting a property properly. So to make sure that you're optimizing your health in every way you can, because I have had black mold poisoning from living in homes built in the 1890s. I've gone through these things and learned the hard way, and any insight that I can give, even when it comes to materials and cleaning products we're using. I love.
Yeah, do you have an Amazon list or something like that?
I do. I need to learn how to share it. I'm such a newbie, but I totally will because I'm
learning this whole Amazon thing, so maybe we can learn together.
Let's do it. Honestly,
I'm just Googling Athena Brownson Amazon.
Let me know if you come up with anything, because I definitely have a few lists made. But
you want to do a training for us on how to get an Amazon account?
Can you?
Yeah, I did it so long ago. Oh,
because one of my moving. Well, that's a problem. So let's talk about it. But one of my moving gifts to a client, I love providing non-toxic cleaning products, just little touches that maybe people wouldn't think about. But if you're giving a small piece of education on how big of a difference it's going to make for the safety and health of your home, that is literally showing how much you care about someone.
Yeah. Yeah.
Through my Amazon list. So everyone find me on Amazon once I figure it out.
Whenever we promote this, we'll link it in the pod, in a story or something.
Yes, as long as you teach me first. Perfect.
I love it.
Another great marketing 101.
Truly. Well, we're coming up on our hour. I mean, this has been, I think, one of our most valuable and actual tactical podcasts we've had.
Good. I love it. You girls are so easy to talk to, so thank you.
Thank you. Yes.
I need to do another one. And
you say when?
Well, I have one of them near me. I've got one of my fridges.
I'll make sure that I have both of mine next time, and I'll have Boo Berry and Lucifer in my arms, and
I'm trying
to
now.
They've definitely been
big girl over here.
You taking a nap?
Gigi.
There he is.
That underbite is everything. Oh my gosh. Next time we'll make sure all the dogs are present for sure.
We're dog friendly podcast.
Love it. I love it.
All of our guard dogs, yeah.
Our written off guard dogs.
You guys, and I never even put up her ticker, so I'm going to put up Athena's ticker at the bottom.
Thank you.
If you want to connect with Athena, she is Athena Brownson. So Athena, and then Brownson, Brownson, Realtor. Hopefully you know how to spell that, on Instagram. And I'm sure you can connect with her and her, bio there on all her other platforms. Yeah, thank you, Athena, for coming on today. You are such a wealth of knowledge, and I'm so inspired. I have so many notes I took.
So fun. Thank you,
I'm
ladies.
just so excited you came on. And guys, if you're listening to this, we are on every Monday, 5:30 p.m. Central Time, so 4:30 Mountain Time and 6:30 Eastern Time. So we hit all of our audiences here.
And make sure to leave a review, everyone. This podcast is amazing. And anything that you love, make sure to write a review. Yep. I know that I will be doing that right when I get off this call.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you, ladies.
Guys. We will catch you next week. And thank you again, Athena, for coming on. And thank you all for listening to Realtor Hacks, Tips, and Tricks.